And ABC News business reporter Alexis Christophorus joins me live now for more on this. Alexis, what do you make of how bank stocks are performing today?
Well, as Rebecca said, we're seeing this really big rebound now in the regional stocks, but also the bigger stocks too. JP Morgan Chase, Citigroup, Wells Fargo, all bouncing back. I think investors just had, a couple of days here to sort of take it all in. It was a lot to take in, and they're trying to assess their risk, and maybe they thought some of the selling was a little overdone.
Now, President Biden has been trying to reassure Americans that everything is safe, their money is secure. Is that message resonating?
Not quite yet. I think this is all still very fresh for people. And when you talk about the safety of their money, I think people sort of have this visceral, response, and they need to protect what's theirs, which is reasonable. So we're seeing a number of people go to their smaller regional banks, taking money out, even if their banks are not signaling that they're in trouble, and they're moving those funds to larger banks for the time being.
Now, new data is showing that inflation appears to be slowly cooling. This banking crisis comes largely as a result of higher interest rates. So what does this all mean for the Fed? Because we're still nowhere near our inflation target, but will they hold steady now given everything that's happening?
So we found out today that consumer prices were up 6% year over year, way off the Fed's target, right, which is more like 2% for inflation. So the Fed still has a lot of work to be done, but the banking collapses have really complicated the issue. The Fed now is sort of threading the needle, if you will. It doesn't want to have inflation run rampant, but it also needs to bring stability to the banking system. So we'll have to see. Next week's Fed meeting will be one of the most pivotal Fed meetings we've had in a while. Wall Street seems to be mixed on this. Some are saying we'll get maybe a quarter-point rise in interest rates. Some, the minority, saying we might get nothing from the Fed. Goldman Sachs' economist came out over the weekend and actually said he believes the Fed will do nothing for the foreseeable future until the banking system calms down.
So what do you say to people listening to this and saying, okay, what does that mean? What do I do with my money?
Yeah, well, these are scary times, but if you have less than $250,000 in the bank, you don't really need to worry, because as long as you're in an FDIC-insured bank, your money is safe. And beyond that, if you have more money in the bank than that, you might want to think about opening up multiple accounts in different banks so you don't sort of have all your eggs in one basket, so to speak.
And while all this is happening, Facebook's parent group Meta just announced 10,000 layoffs. How does that factor into all of this?
Well, it definitely means that more people may be struggling, losing their jobs. 10,000 more jobs there at Meta on top of the 13,000 earlier this year. This problem is not specific to Meta. They are dealing with a big drop in digital ads. And also remember, they're trying to pivot over to the metaverse, which hasn't been going too well for them. A lot of investors have been very critical of the way Meta has handled that. But overall, we continue to see this belt tightening in the tech sector. And of course, these two banks collapsing were very closely tied to tech investors. So it's been a very rough time for them.
All right. Alexis Christophorus, thank you.
Thanks.
And if you want to ask Alexis any personal finance questions, you can leave a message on our Instagram feed. She just might answer your question live right here on the...
Shalom, give all praise, Yahweh Shem, Yahshua Shem, Kakadash, honors, elders, and apostles, men, truth and down regarding truth and knowledge. Why do Yahweh Shem, Yahshua for the elders and apostles regarding their truth and knowledge. And the men on down regarding their truth and knowledge. So we can learn the truth, the water for their truth and knowledge, and so we can learn the truth and knowledge. Call holy Yahbashim Yosha Bashim Rakakadash, give all praise Yahbashim Yosha Bashim Rakakadash. ABC report talking about people moving their money out of the smaller banks and moving to bigger banks, despite the assurance that it's safe. That was an ABC News report related to that video. FDA, the Federal Reserve, is making a decision to have a meeting, I believe, next week relating on certain matters. Let me get that report real quick. There we go, emergency meeting. I see now also one of the reports that somebody posted. So they will make a decision about certain things. The DOD and SEC making a probe about pretty much management handling related to these banks. because let's see what that report I had. Let's see. Because a lot of them were still selling stocks. Let me see. Selling stocks. Let me see how I have it here. So yeah, it's under investigation. The DOJ is the SEC launched a probe relating to SVB, relating to pretty much the management handling in the banking, related to the upper echelon, the corporate CEOs, related to like selling a stock, sold them stocks, and bonuses, which ain't nothing new because they always, you know, the top always takes care. It's the bottom that gets the shaft, in a matter of speaking. So pretty much stock sold and stock sold and salary, you know, salary hikes, pretty much potential inside trader type stuff, man. Basically, did they know about that it was going to this was going to be a problem, be problematic potentially? And the answer to that is yes, they do. You know what I mean? So they you know, they anticipate certain things, man. So they looking into that, the probe, you know what I mean, related to whether they knew certain things or not. I want to look up relating to bail-ins and bailouts definitions. Let's get that bail. Let's see, bail-in. Shalak, you may just get this together. All right, bail-in is a form of a financial relief for financial institution, which is a bank. It is the opposite of a bailout, which is normally associated with banking. Bail-ins helps to alleviate the burden of taxpayer dollars that are associated with bank bailouts. There's another definition I've seen. Here we go. Investopedia. A relief to financial institutions on the brink of failure, which is the example of a bank, by requiring cancellation of what? Debts owed to the creditors and depositors, man. So pretty much the bank is responsibility of overhead, man, that they are responsible for. So the cancellation of that relating to that owed debt. There you go, right down here. Bail-ins provide relief to a financial institution on the brink of failure or perhaps collapse by requiring the cancellation of debts owed to creditors and depositors. Bail-in is the opposite of a bailout. And the bailout relates to when the government has to pretty much step in, which involves rescue of financial institution by external parties, outside parties, typically governments using taxpayers' money for funding. Now let's look for bailouts. It's money given to secure a financial institution from the federal government. For example of that, Lehman Sachs, 2008, I guess. But the money is collected from other banks. That's why they want pretty much help, outside help. And I'm going to go to another word, backstop. Backstop relates to support and reinforcement. Reinforcement is pretty much a last support or lifeline to keep things up. We'll get that word. But that was a terminology they used. Is money given to a secure financial institution from a federal government, but the money is collected from other banks. And he said, from a political consciousness of how we got used to the word bailout over the past decades, it's not. Well, they say it's not, but really it is, man. You know. So the Federal Reserve, that's why they probably had to get a meeting to pretty much figure out what they had to do next, man. Pretty much a form of financial or economical restructuring, man, in a matter of speaking. That was a video relating to that. Stop back, that's the one for banking. It provides a last resort support or reinforcement to make a bid in securities offering for unsubscribed portion of shares. What does a backstop mean in banking? Here we go. Related content, a term used in the financial industry to mean credit support or backup funds for financial instrument or transaction. For example, a bank resolving credit loans are often obtained to backstop commercial paper in the event that the commercial paper issue defaults on its payment. So that means basically if they can't pay it, man, you know, or not able to pay it. Yeah, SEC and DOD, which is SEC Security Exchange Commission is a U.S. government oversight agency responsible for regulating the security markets and protecting investors, man. So they're going to do a probe relating to SVB, which is a major, you know, for tech industries, and high roller related investors, you know, people with money, people who's above, you know, middle income, you know, people who have substantial amount of money. You got CEOs, you have people with tech companies and businesses that have accounts in these things, investments in different things, so they have a lot of money riding in this, for example, that particular bank, man. So there's an article saying, or a report saying that it's gonna, you know, they're gonna pay plus the $250,000 plus, you know, relating to the FDIC, which is the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation. So it's going to pay beyond the $250,000, man. DOD meaning. Okay. Let's get some scriptures. Or just looking for something. All right. get a few scriptures. Let's go to Proverbs 22:7. The rich rule over the poor, and the borrower is a slave or a servant of a lender. And that's what they are, man. The rich rule over the poor because the rich are in a position of power, man. And the borrower, which is the poor, is a servant to the lender, which is the lender is the rich, man. So the borrowers, which is the commoners, the people, are at the mercy of these rich lenders, man. Go to 18 and 23 of Proverbs. The poor uses entreaties, and these entreaties relates to beg, beseech, pretty much grovel, man. But the rich answer roughly. So the rich, they answer roughly, not respectfully. They don't have to because they're in a position of power. You know what I mean? Because they know the poor has to come to them, man, for all want, all need, man. So they don't have to respect the poor. So the poor is at their mercy, going to 22:7. The borrower is a slave to the lender, and the rich ruleth over the poor, man. Let's go to 1 Timothy 6 and 10. For the love of money is the root of all evil. So the love of money, covetousness, the wanting, the excessive wanting, that's evil. Money is a defense. I'll go to that one too. Find that one. Money is just a tool used, man, for its purpose, man. But money is not evil itself, man. How it's used will determine whether good or bad. That factor, but in general, money is a tool used according to its purpose, man. For the love of money is the root of all evil. It is though this craving that some have wandered away from the faith. So money has become where it's become a distraction, where it's taken them off course, and pierced themselves with many pangs, which goes to sorrows, man. That's NIV. And those pangs are griefs and sorrows, man. So they wander from, let me see, I'll read it again. For the love of money is a root of all kinds of evil. Some people eager for money, so they have enthusiasm, zeal, and desire for that money, and have wandered from the faith, which means they were taken off their course, and pierced themselves with many griefs because of the money. And it's even become a snare and a temptation and a trap as well, man. Let's get that one relating to I think it's Ecclesiastes 7. Let me see. This one. Here we go. Well, 9 and 16. Here we go. Shalach 9 and 16. Then said I, wisdom is better than strength. So wisdom is like gold, silver. You know what I mean? That's money itself, man. You know, the value of that's very high. You know what I mean? Then said I, wisdom is better than strength. Nevertheless, the poor man's wisdom is despised, and his words are not heard. So, wisdom is better than strength. So, wisdom is better than having money, paper money, gold, silver, you know. Pretty much that's a very high, valuable commodity, man. And the rest of that talks about a poor man's wisdom is despised. A poor man's wisdom is going to be despised. It's not going to be heard, man. It's going to be hated. His words are not heard because he's a poor man, man. You know what I mean? So it's not going to be taken seriously. It's going to be despised, man. You know? But it goes to the first part. See some other money scriptures. This is something short relating to that. There's another one. Wisdom is a defense, and money is a defense. But the excellency of knowledge is that wisdom giveth life to them that have it. So it gives it life. So wisdom is defense, money is defense. It really is a tool that's be used accordingly related to its purpose, man. You know, just like I said, money is not an evil thing. You know, covetous or having a desire, an excessive desire over money is evil. But money itself is not evil, man, because it's a tool that all of us need to use, especially in this kingdom, in this lifetime. We all need money for the basic fundamental things, man. So it's something that we all need. It depends on how you use it, individually and collectively. But money itself is not evil unless it becomes beyond excessive and covetous in point, man. But this was just a few scriptures relating to that. And like I said, this could be, you know, this could be the bowling ball that hits that one ball and the rest of them fall, man. You know what I mean? So this is a very important thing because it's related to economical. You know, like that video saying, people are taking out their money out of these smaller banks, putting these larger banks. You know what I mean? Because really they don't trust it, and that's just a matter of speaking. They don't trust it. Scripture talks about be not ignorant of anything great or small, man. So they're not being ignorant, man, relating to great or small. Ecclesiastes 5:15. You know, let me get this Psalms real quick. (64 and 8). So they shall make their own tongue to fall upon themselves. So their own tongue, relating to what they speak, they're going to stumble over their own words, man. And all that see them shall flee away, because you know they don't want to be. They trying to get away from them. They don't. You know, they like what these people are saying. They fleeing from them. So number 8. So they shall make their own tongues fall upon themselves. So they're going to stumble at the words. They're going to say certain things without saying certain things that actually, what they say and how they saying is actually revealing certain things, man, without even trying to reveal it, man. So they're exposing themselves, man. That being said, this was something short. I don't want to make this too long. I'm going to give all praise. I hope this helps. This is Zayah Wolf. Give all praise, Yahweh Shem Yahshua Shem Rakakadash. Zayah Wolf. Hope it helps, Shalom.